You win the fans over by winning football games. You know, I've never been the guy to try to win the fans over with my words. It's just I try to be who I am, a genuine guy, be the same person every day, and hopefully, my play, can be enough to win the fans over.
Teddy Bridgewater getting set to make his Broncos debut, and we are getting you ready for kickoff. Hello, I'm Phil Milani alongside Sydney Jones and Aric DiLalla just outside the UC Health Training Center. Sydney, let's start with you. What are your expectations for Teddy Bridgewater?
Right, Phil. Well, we've heard, all offseason, throughout training camp, throughout the preseason, the sense of urgency that this team has right now. They want to bring that narrative back here. They want to bring that winning culture back to Broncos country, the one that we all know and love here. And that starts this Sunday, and that starts with Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think anyone expects Teddy to go out and throw for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. And, he would be the first one to say that those individual statistics don't matter. He has come out and said multiple times that winning is the only thing that matters. So for him, my expectations are, move the ball down the field and protect the football. No turnovers, play smart. Get going early. Denver wasn't able to score a touchdown in the first possession of any game last season. So for him, I really want to see them start early and, start with that sense of urgency that they've been talking about.
We've seen Teddy do that in the preseason, but this Giants defense is pretty good. A bunch of Pro Bowlers on that side of the ball. What would be a good performance? What would win over Broncos fans, Aric?
2 areas I'm really looking at, Phil. One, early in the game. So City mentioned that first drive, but 10 games last year, 0 points or 3 points in the first quarter. That can't happen. You have to jump out to an early lead. That's what's going to set this defense up for success. And then late in games, if it's a close game for whatever reason, can you be that emotional leader, bring some stability to the huddle? That would really help, I think. And then connect on a deep shot down the field, whether that's Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, KJ Hamler. I think something that fans are worried about is will the Broncos offense still have that deep threat element without Drew Lock in there? We did see Teddy throw it down the field in the preseason, and so if he can do that in week 1, I think it'd go a long way toward convincing some people.
It's a huge opportunity in this offense. We have guys who are capable of, bringing that spark, that big playability to the games, and we want to make sure that when we call them, we hit them. That's the thing that I love about this team. It's a group of guys that all have a unique skill set, and if we need a guy to catch a ball 50 yards down the field, if we need a guy to catch a slant on 3rd and 1, we need a guy to go in there and block in the run game. Like, all those guys can do different things, and when you can combine all that talent in that room, it could be a nightmare for defenses.
Let's talk about this Broncos defense, the other side of the ball. So much hype during the preseason, hearing that the goal might be 2 or 3 takeaways every single week. Sydney, can they live up to this hype?
I hope so, Phil. First and foremost, I think for them is to stay healthy. We've seen this defense over and over again be riddled with injuries over the past 2 years. I think if you can keep Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Justin Simmons, Pat Surtain on the field, they're going to guarantee making plays. But you said it again, I think really this defense needs to create turnovers. We've talked about it time and time and again. Over the past 2 years, they've ranked 25th in 2019 and then 29th in 2020 in turnovers in the league. And we have way too much talent on this defense not to be creating turnovers. So I really do think that should be a priority this season. And if they can do that, I don't really know what else they can't do, Phil.
Worst turnover margin in the NFL last year for the Broncos. So definitely taking care of the ball and taking it away, a big priority. Aric, Daniel Jones, similar to Drew Lock, kind of developing, heading into year 3. Do you think they'll be able to get after him? That offensive line in front of him, not the best in the NFL.
No, Andrew Thomas at left tackle and Nate Solder, if he ends up going at right tackle, both could be question marks there. So especially if Von Miller, well, we know Von Miller's going to go, but if Bradley Chubb can go too, that could be a real advantage for this Denver defense. A couple other areas that could be bonuses for them in the red zone. We know the Broncos have been tops in the NFL in red zone defense the last 2 years. They've got to be good there again in week 1. And then Sydney mentioned the turnovers, Phil. The Broncos defense was, I think, 15th, 16th in DVOA, which is one of those metrics that values where you rank compared to an average level defense, but way down in turnovers. So just probability suggests regression of the mean. You're going to get some more of those turnovers. That'll help. And Phil, Daniel Jones thrown a lot of interceptions, a lot of fumbles, turned the ball over more than any player in the league the last 2 years. So look for them to take advantage of that.
Great defenses don't just stop the ball, they take it away.
For me, it's just all about what we've been doing all camp. I think we had a group of guys that can definitely get it done, across the board. Starting with the front, the linebackers, and then our back end. So, we definitely want to go out and force 2 turnovers, create more opportunities for our offense. But I think we have a group of guys that can go out and get it done.
One thing that we've been really excited for all preseason is seeing Von Miller, Courtland Sutton, guys like this who missed most of last season, back in action. So now the question is, who's going to have a better debut here, Von Miller or Courtland Sutton? Aric, let's start with you this time.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay. I think it's going to be Von Miller just because you look at who he's going against. Likely Nate Solder. Von likes to line up over that right tackle. Maybe they'll move him a little bit if Bradley Chubb can't go to take advantage of that matchup with Andrew Thomas. But Von, by all accounts, has looked just as good as he's looked over the past few years. No ill effects from that ankle injury. It wouldn't surprise me if he had a multi-sack game, and especially in season openers, Phil. We've seen him come out and take advantage. I think back to that Seahawks game in 2018, a few sacks, had a forced fumble, was dominant in the run game. So nothing against Courtland. I think he'll have his catches, but just more weapons on the offensive side to spread the ball around to. On defense, Von Miller's, he's going to pin his ears back and get after Daniel Jones.
Sydney, Von Miller or Courtland Sutton?
Sorry to say it to Courtland Sutton, but I'm going to have to go with Von Miller here too. I think back to the 2020 offseason and how Von came out, with a different determination, a different perspective. He looked like he was in the best shape of his life. We thought he was probably going to have one of the best seasons of his career, and obviously his ankle injury halted him, but we've seen that same process this offseason, maybe even more determination because of his ankle injury. So I think we're going to see a huge game from him on Sunday. Aric mentioned the Giants' shaky offensive line, and obviously Daniel Jones, he struggled a little bit. I think we could see maybe 2 sacks from Von on Sunday. I'm really hoping that he has a great start to the season so we can see him back to that 2015 caliber that he was.
Somebody has to stand up for Courtland Sutton. It'll be me. Teddy Bridgewater said he turns into a different kind of person on game day, sees that fire in his eyes. I think maybe we'll see some of that fire. He had a touchdown in his first return to action in the preseason against the Rams. Maybe he'll find the end zone once again this week against the Giants. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Aric DiLalla and Sidney Jones, I'm Phil Milani. Make sure you check out the Broncos post-game show. These guys are heading out to New York. Are you looking forward to it? You're going to get a slice of pizza maybe?
Heck yeah, Phil. I love New York pizza.
Well, we'll have everything covered post-game coming up on the Broncos post-game show.